Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Apple Box Chronicles. My name is Peyton Buto.
And I'm Adryon Thomas.
And today on the ABCs, we are taking you from A to Z, quite literally, because we've got a lot planned for this one.
It might be a long episode. We have a lot. We wrote down a lot of stuff for this movie.
Because we are obsessed with Curry Barker's new feature directorial debut horror comedy, Obsession.
It's a lot of genres right there.
That was 2 genres I named.
I know, but
I said a lot of other words.
I know.
But I named 2 genres.
It feels like a lot of genres.
If you're unfamiliar with Curry Barker, he is an internet personality known for the comedy duo skit page he runs called That's a Bad Idea with his friend Cooper Tomlinson, who also stars in this film as Ian. Film also stars Michael Johnston, Indy Navarrete in a star-making horror performance.
Yeah.
Michael Johnston is also very good, and Megan Lawless as Sarah. I think this film it's also not Curry's first venture into horror. He made some shorts online, The Chair, Milk and Cereal.
Milk and Cereal, I guess you could consider his first movie in a way. It's like an hour long.
I unfortunately have not gotten around to seeing those just yet. But this is what I would call this film Obsession. We're going to talk a lot about it, but just first off, I would call this as part of the internet wave of horror films and movies. Like we're kind of in a movement of movies right now, specifically horror, where we're seeing people who, from Gen Z who've grown up, and
it's more just like from people on social media and YouTube coming into filmmaking.
Right, yeah, like young filmmakers who were on the internet and kind of got their first foray into filmmaking on the internet and taking those sensibilities and bringing them to the big screen.
Yeah, so like we've gotten Talk to Me, we've gotten Shelby Oaks, Iron Lung with Markiplier, this movie,
Backrooms
coming out. We haven't seen that yet, but I can't wait.
The similarity with Backrooms and this, I think, I haven't seen it, but I have a strong feeling that it's going to be similar to this movie, and what I appreciate about this movie, which is that it is translating the voice of the filmmaker from the internet stuff to the screen authentically. Like a lot of the dialogue back and forth scenes in Obsession, the not crazy horror scenes, they play out like comedy skits, like they have bits in them. And
Curry Barker's also coming, like we've said, kind of like this comedy sketch background, kind of like
Zach
Kreger and Jordan Peele. So it's almost like in that kind of, I don't know, genre of horror,
that vein, sort of. Yeah. I think Curry does really well the cringe humor and the cringe horror as one. So it's a horror comedy, but specifically they walk a common ground of cringe and discomfort.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie thrives on, and we're going to see a lot of uncomfortable shit. We're going to discuss it. So spoiler-free reactions for people that haven't seen the movie. You're still safe to listen to this part. I love this movie. I saw it in September at Fantastic Fest. I saw it in April at Overlook. And then since today's Monday, I've seen it every night since Thursday. So I've seen it 6 times. I adore it. It's my favorite film so far this year. And you're going to find out why in the next hour or so.
Yeah, I've only seen it 3 times. I saw it technically twice on my birthday, which is Thursday. And then I saw it last night again for the 3rd time. So I've only seen it 3 times, but it's easily like top 3 of the year so far for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say it's my number 1, but I would have to like kind of reevaluate how it holds up over the year.
Yeah, incredible film. Really creepy, really funny. We both laugh a lot watching it.
It was hilarious. Like when I first saw it, I was dying laughing with like my coworkers. We were just like we could have been on the floor laughing. It was that funny.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because the movie's about this guy that has a crush on his friend, and he uses a one wish willow, which is like a trinket to wish that she'll love him, and of course it backfires. It's that kind of careful what you wish for plot, but it sort of shows this forced kind of relationship dynamic that is so uncomfortable, and I think it shows the horror on her end of losing her agency and what she's feeling, but the comedy is on his end where he's getting tormented, and basically he's getting a taste of his own medicine the whole movie. Like, he's basically just...
He's just like, what the hell is going on right now? And then she does weird shit, and he's like, oh my god, that's what's going on.
Yeah, but you kind of like watching him get scared because it's so funny. She's so funny, but then also you get like that sort of feeling. It's like, you deserve this because you were acting this way, you were being obsessive yourself, but it was just quieter with you, and now you're seeing exactly the rawest form of exactly what you were doing.
Yeah.
And it's very, very funny to watch happen.
Yeah, it's actually quite a great little simple premise of a movie, but it kind of delves in a little deeper in some of the psychology of a few of these characters and what it actually means to feel love for someone versus wanting to feel love from someone, and how, you know, people are flawed and you could go in several directions, and it really depends on how people taking it's hard to explain, but it's like you see like the worst that someone can be from a psychological standpoint. Like, this person, like, the main character, he seems like, you know, normal kind of dude, but then the more you look into it, it's like, no, this guy has like a lot of problems, but it's not like so surface level. You kind of have to like dig deep into what he's thinking, and then you see that he's got some real messed up ideologies about his relationships, and how a lot of people today have kind of the same ideas about it, and how this movie's kind of like flipping it on its head and just kind of showing you, it's kind of marrying like those ideologies, like if that was from the other person, from another perspective, from the female's perspective, it becomes almost monstrous.
Yeah, like when he makes the wish, it's and this is not, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's almost in a moment of frustration with himself, and I feel that he did want it to work, even though he knew it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Deep down, he wanted it to work. He just doesn't. He gets a rude awakening of what that actually means, and that reveals his flaws with relationship ideology. For example, it's basically like, what if relationships actually worked in the way that you want them to work? It would be horrifying.
Yeah.
For the other person and for you to an extent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what this movie kind of shows.
Yeah.
We might as well just get into spoilers now,
yeah,
because there's
not
not much.
We got no time to waste.
Yeah.
There's so much to break in. I guess you could consider this episode a full movie analysis of Obsession.
Yeah.
We're gonna just touch on everything. We literally listed out every scene in order, and because we've seen it a lot, we know kind of where things are, and we just want to break down all the things that we find interesting in each scene. But we're going to assume you've seen this movie.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to just explain the plot to you. We're just going to tell you interesting parts of each scene. So the very first scene we get is Bear basically expressing how he feels about Nikki in a role play setting, and he's too vulnerable. And his friend's like, "That's cringe. That's too much." But if you look at what he says things like, "You were the only one that was nice to me when I moved here. You called me when my grandma died and talked to me." And then he says, "I would choose you over everything."
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look back on those lines
because
later.
that's honestly what he should have kind of said to her. It would have been like the most honest thing he possibly
Right.
could have said.
Even if it reveals some problematic ideas on his behalf, it would have opened the door for a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Where instead he's saying it in this setting where, the girl he's talking to, like, it works on her. She's like,
Yeah.
that was great. But Ian's like, no, that's too much. That's too cringe. And he's worried about being rejected for being cringy and embarrassing himself. But, Nikki would not have humiliated him if he had said that.
No, it probably would have hurt a lot, but at least I don't think Nikki would have, like, clowned him on it. I think she would have probably taken it to heart and been like, I see where you're coming from. I just don't feel the same way about you. But he doesn't do that. And we'll find out later on that Ian, his friend, also has like a relationship with Nikki. So he's kind of sabotaging this whole thing, this whole like rehearsal, because he knows what's gonna actually work on Nikki and what's not. And he tells him, like, call her Freaky Nikki. And even Bear knows. He's like, she doesn't like being called that. Why would I say that? And he's like, it's just a playful thing. And even the waitress that they're trying to do this little mock-up thing with, she's like, yeah. She kind of agrees with Bear on, like, I get her a gift or tell her something nice. And then Ian's like, no, don't do that. That's cringe.
He gets the waitress to go away when she starts giving him actual advice on how to succeed.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it does have this... I think this whole movie does this, where there's this issue with romance tropes in movies where it becomes the pursuit of, how do I get this girl to like me? How do I get her to feel the way I want her to feel about me? And whatever manipulative way I need to do that, whatever strategy I need to take to, say the right thing and use the right method at the right time, instead of just, what if I just be honest and I actually let her feel however she feels about that?
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the simplest thing. And I think a lot of also what this movie shows is that the way that relationships are now in the modern age, everyone's so afraid of being cringe and being vulnerable that it becomes like the last thing you want to do is to embarrass yourself or be awkward. And so because being honest is being messy like that, that becomes like, oh my God, like, no, that's too much. I can't do that. So, it's interesting. Nikki would have had feedback on how he felt. But he's not interested in feedback or honesty. He's interested in making his goals a reality.
Yeah. We also kind of see in the next scene how bad his life kind of really is when we cut immediately to his dead cat.
We cut on the line that his friend says, which is, all you've got is time. I think that comes back later.
Yeah.
The idea that we kind of all feel like time's running out, like we don't have enough time in life, but also we have all the time in the world, in a sense. For Bear, I think he kind of puts himself in a situation where he's like, I don't have time.
He puts the pressure on himself, and I think that's more of his own personal problems, because after seeing this a few times, I could fairly assume that he was suicidal, and that's the reason why his cat probably died, was because it got into the sleeping pills that he was most likely probably going to use on himself.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not even his, they're his grandma's, in which we will also learn that his grandma passed away. And well, I think he actually says that in the first, like, you were there when my grandma was gone, but
yes,
he lives in his grandma's house, assuming that because he lives in his grandma's house, he doesn't have family anymore. He doesn't have his parents. So he's just a lonely guy with like a dead cat now, and all he really cares about is his relationship with Nikki, and I guess his friends as well. But those are really the only people he has in his life at the moment, and it's either maybe killing himself or seeing where this relationship with Nikki goes. And once he kind of gets revealed that Nikki's not going to be around for as much as he would hope, she's going to put in her 2 weeks for a job where they work together, there's a bit more urgency, and there's not as much time felt that he has to be with her anymore. And so he's in the situation in which it's like now or never. And even though it's now or never, he doesn't have the courage to do or say anything about it.
Yeah, I think the cat also acts as this nice, like, he becomes the cat at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it acts as this nice microcosm of, like, the situation he ends up in, because you see the pills on the bottom of it. It says "do not use" on, like, written in Sharpie, and that's almost like a metaphor for the willow of, like, don't the warning on the box sort of thing. And then it ruins his life, and he dies.
And the reason why he gets the willow is because Nikki loses her crystal necklace, and then I think because of the whole rehearsal, and she's like, get her a gift. He's like, oh, this is a good way for me to get a gift for her since she lost her crystal. And so when he goes into a crystal shop, that's where he sees the One Wish Willow. And instead of, getting the crystal, which I think actually would have been a nice little, like, you lost your crystal, I got another one for you, like, kind of a little nice little present, he goes for the One Wish Willow, which he could give to her. And I think he initially was thinking he could do that, but I think it also kind of showcases his selfishness in the fact that maybe he could also use it on himself if he isn't able to give it to her.
Yeah, I think so. I also think he's drawn to it because I think he lives in that mentality of, I have one desire, and that's it. And that's the only thing that I want. And you even hear him crying on the bed after his cat dies. He's like, why can't she just? That's what he says.
Yeah, that's the only thing that, like, really matters to him in his life. I think even just at that moment.
And that's the perspective he has at the beginning. And I think once literally he gets exactly that, where it's like he just gets the reversal of that, where it's like, well, now you're the only thing that matters to Nikki in her life. Oh, wait, there's actually so much else I could, like, out there, there's so much else that I have that is being taken away by the fact that Nikki is obsessed with me. It's ruining all my other relationships and all these other things that I love. And it's making him realize how much bigger the picture was, and how his life had more to it than just her. But he was so tunnel visioned on Nikki that he couldn't see it. Also, I think the medicine cabinet door not being able to close is a symbol of the fact that it's like that he's always considering taking his own life. He's always considering that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just kind of like this constant reminder that there's still the sleeping pills. But yeah, he gets the One Wish Willow because I think there's, like, in the back of his head, he's like, there could be something with this that I could somehow make it about me again. Mm-hmm. Obviously he doesn't, like, think about that, but it's like subconsciously he's a very selfish person, so there's always, like, the backup of maybe this could help me. And then they get to the karaoke bar, not karaoke, trivia.
It's called Barker's Pub. A little on the nose, but he's not in the movie other than his little voice cameo, which is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. And you could see the two girls there talking to each other about their careers and what they want to do for their future. Sarah wants to get into college. Nikki wants to be a writer. But the two guys, they're not talking about what they want. Well, they kind of are. They're secretly kind of... Bear wants to talk to Nikki.
Scheming.
Yeah, they're scheming.
They're scheming about how to like, their disagreement over Bear and how he's going to engage with Nikki instead of, really what should be happening is Bear should be just talking to Nikki. Yeah. But the thing
be a part of that conversation. Be a part, like, now if they were to actually be a part of the conversation that the girls were having, you'd get more insight about what she wants to do with her future. Like, maybe it would have relaxed him on the whole time thing and been like, no, she's still here. She's still my friend. She's still friends with everybody. She's not just gonna disappear. I mean, maybe she is, but he wouldn't know that. He didn't talk to her about it. He makes it again more about himself, more about him getting into the situation he wants to be in.
It's like, yeah, I just want her to feel the way I want her to feel towards me. And also the thing that's interesting is she and Sarah, Megan's the actress's name.
Yeah.
But she and Sarah they're kind of solving a discrepancy about like work, because Sarah's dad runs the store that they work at.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how, oh, my dad's upset that you're writing on the clock, like, just talking back and forth. But they solve it so swiftly and with love, and they say, oh yeah, but it's okay, I love you, like, I got your back, like all this stuff. They're honest with each other, and it's like that's exactly what's missing the rest of the movie is the fact that we're so afraid of being rejected and having those issues that we just don't talk it out.
Yeah.
And so,
well, when it's between the two girls, I think that makes sense. But when you get the guys involved, nothing is concrete. Everything is kind of through each other. It's all gossip. No one's telling each other the truth, or everybody's trying to hide something from each other. And
there's ulterior motives to almost everything that those characters say to each other. And I think
because Sarah likes Bear likes Nikki. Ian also likes Nikki, but for different, I think, reasons and ways. And they're all just trying to kind of get around the fact that they all feel something for each other. And they're not trying to make it very open.
Yeah.
Because if they do, you're either going to get rejected and everybody's going to know, or I think that's really their biggest fear, is that, everybody will know, and they'll feel like, they were. I mean, nobody wants to get rejected.
Well,
nobody wants to feel those negative feelings, but you kind of have to get through that obstacle for anything to change, anything to happen.
Well, I think the movie is about how you have to accept the possibility of rejection to eventually find acceptance.
Yeah,
and that's mirrored with Sarah's getting into art school thing. It's the fact that he's just not willing to have an honest conversation. There's also the fact that like there's so much interrupting happening in the movie.
Yeah, when they went to get shots and everybody keeps interrupting him when all he wants to do is ask her out, or like start asking her out. And I just want to say that I thought this was funny when he asked for a pina colada. He's like, a pina colada, showing like his feminine side. I'm like, red flag. Pina colada is great, but
it's also the whole like I don't want to be humiliated or be cringe thing.
But it there also kind of shows they're not fully aligned. Like there's still things that like they might disagree on, or like she prefers something where he prefers something else, and it might not come together in
also,
the end.
But also that's not even damning. Like it almost is like a bonding moment.
It's a playful little thing.
Playful, and also the fact that, but it's the fact that it's like he's microscopically examining every single thing Nikki does to see if she likes him or not.
Yeah.
And he's not living in the moment with her, so it's like he doesn't realize that disagreement it doesn't damn them from ever having some sort of connection.
Yeah.
It's just that
he should have owned it. He should. Yeah.
Well, he does kind of.
He does. Yeah.
It's just the idea that later in the movie, right? If that were to happen again, Nikki would probably be like, "Oh, I'll get one too, because that's what Bear likes, and that's not what you actually want."
Yeah.
You don't want people that just do whatever you want and be whatever you want to be, and those differences are what it creates chemistry. It's not chemistry if you're not mixing two different things.
Yeah, and in that scene we also get they cheers to they toast to Sandy, and the only one who's even interested in why he even said that was Sarah, because she actually cares about Bear and like what's going on with him, and she's she hugs him, and like you see like an actual real connection and real um like you could see that Sarah actually cares for him in that moment, and
Yeah.
he can even say that to Nikki. He can even give that information.
He
out
wouldn't
to
even
her.
tell her on the phone when it just happened.
Yeah. Which is it's another wall that's, again, a brick wall, which is ironic because when she talks to him in the next scene in the car, she's like, it's talking to you is not like talking to a brick wall, even though all he does is put up brick walls.
What's interesting too is the fact that I think he's more okay with telling Sarah that because he's not worried about getting something from Sarah.
Yeah.
And with Nikki, it's like, oh, I don't want to give her the ick, so to speak, and tell her about
or he
the
could
cat
try
right
to
away.
like weaponize it later on and be like, my cat died.
Yeah,
like
which is actually ironically what she does when the wish happens. So they're in the car, and she talks about the difference between love and romance. She's like, my book that I'm writing is not a romance, it's a love story.
Yeah.
And Bear doesn't see them as two different things. So it's almost like the way I see this movie is when Bear makes a wish and it doesn't work the way he wants it to, he's almost like an unsatisfied customer, right? The way he calls customer service, the way he goes into the store really angry later in the movie, but also the way that it's almost like there was fine print on the wish that was like romance not included, and he didn't read that.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't understand the difference.
I mean, if you think about it, like in most stories about making a wish, whether it's like 3 wishes from a genie or a monkey paw or any of that, a lot of the rules include not doing anything romantically related because of this very kind of situation.
Exactly.
Like, it's very hard. Like love and romance and like emotions are very, very, very complicated, and you can't just like skirt a sentence and just be like, she'll love me and that's it. There's a lot of things that can break.
What's so interesting about that is there's a reference to Aladdin in the trivia scene.
Yeah.
The trivia announcer right before the scene cuts says, this animated film features a blue genie. It's obviously Aladdin, and it's about wishes, so that makes sense. But the rules in Aladdin are can't make anybody love anybody and can't bring anyone back from the dead, which is what Nikki tries to do with the cat constantly, just like bringing it back, and it's dead, and she's just trying to like bring it back in a way. So I think maybe that's slightly a reference to the fact that he wished for the one thing that you should never wish for, and it essentially does exactly that.
And even Curry Barker has said that it's not, the wishing willow is not meant to be like an evil wish thing where like every wish you make, like it's a monkey paw, like every wish you make is going to come back and haunt you. He just made a bad wish, and you shouldn't wish that someone should lose complete autonomy just so they could love you and only you and nothing else matters.
It's a wish that disregards consent. And I think people are they're being so ridiculous about this online, in my opinion, where they're like, oh, it's the wording of the wish that was the problem. If he just had said it differently, like, oh, I want a healthy relationship with Nikki, or oh, I want Nikki to care about me, or something, like, it's like, no, guys, you can't make any wish that would say, I want this person to feel this way or do this thing. You're basically saying, I want to control this other person. And if you disregard someone's autonomy or their consent in the wish, regardless of however you do that, is wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't see how we're getting caught up in the phrasing of the wish when we're missing the bigger picture, which is that Bear sees...
It's like no matter what you say, there is no consent from her.
Right, and Bear sees her agency and her desires to be like a writer and like leave, and like that's a threat, right? Yeah. Whether he realizes it or not, he is in his brain separated what she wants and who and having her. Like when he says I would choose you over everything, I think he means like I would kind of I want to get around you know, whatever is stopping you from liking me so that I can have you. Like, I would choose you over your own autonomy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because to him, it's a separate. It's almost like a separate thing. Even if he doesn't realize that that's how he thinks, and I think a lot of men in real life don't realize that that's how they think. But they see a woman's consent and agency as like a obstacle that's like in the way. It's like what she wants is actually in the way of me getting what I want.
Yeah, because her wanting to be a writer as well as like putting in her 2 weeks means that he can't have her anymore in quotations, because she won't be a part of his like immediate life anymore, and he knows that would completely change her relationship, possibly in big ways, and he just can't let go. He doesn't know how to let go. I think, and again, I do think that he's like, in the beginning of the movie, I don't think he's a terrible person. I don't think he has bad intentions for Nikki. He's just he's so depressed that he's selfish in trying to make himself happy again, and thinking that Nikki's the only thing that can make him happy.
So I think in the beginning of the movie, he has a very poor perspective on the situation, on Nikki, on himself, and like how he views her is not healthy and not good. I would say it's not that he's... I would say that doesn't make him a bad person yet, because I think it's still possible for him to change that.
Yeah.
He has not acted in a way that has harmed people yet.
Yeah.
And I think if he was willing to be honest and open up and get feedback and kind of be... Also, Ian, kind of a bad friend. Because he was more interested in sabotaging him and just kind of brushing it off than realizing how unhealthy the way Bear sees her is.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it all has to do with the fact that, like, we feel alone because we're so afraid of being rejected that we're not honest, and then that makes us unable to connect with other people, and then we never learn anything. So I think he could have gotten help in the beginning to realize there was more to life. But instead, he views it as like I have one wish, I have one thing, I have one goal, and if it doesn't work, my life doesn't matter. Yeah. And that's the problem. But yes, he hasn't done anything yet that makes him irredeemable, but he has... It starts with that. It starts with the bad perspective. And I think there's a lot of guys in the world that are a cat death or a coworker quitting away from acting very rashly in that way, and not, using a magical object. But if you take the magic out of it, that night, when he makes the wish, she says things like, "Oh, I'm pretty fucked up." And if she were actually pretty fucked up, I think there are guys in Bear's situation that might take advantage, or assign meaning to something that doesn't mean anything.
Well, okay, so right before he makes the wish, Nikki's gets out of the car, and he's trying to showcase how much she means to him, and she doesn't quite get it. She's like, yeah, it was whatever. So he says, he calls her, okay, whatever, Freaky Nikki, and she's like, why would you say that? Because obviously he knows that she doesn't like that, but he's still trying to take advice from Ian, which is wrong.
Also, that mirrors how Nikki acts later, because he's adapting in an instant to whatever he thinks is going to please her, and nothing does. Yeah. Go on.
And then, she asks him point blank, do you like me? And I think this is the exact moment in which you know that this character is a coward. He cares
more about getting what he wants from Nikki than being honest.
Yeah, he sees a coward. He's being selfish. He doesn't want to be rejected. And even though she asks him point blank, do you like me? He still says, I like you as a friend. And nothing really more than that. Then I remember seeing that, like, everybody, it's like, oh God, dude, come on. Like, it's like a huge moment, I think, in the movie, in which it's like, that could have been the turning point. That could have been the change in the relationship that's needed.
But the thing is, it was almost a win-win, because I guess, depending on how he responds to it, I would hope that if she rejected him, he wouldn't just go and end his life. But I think if she handled it in a caring way, which I believe she would have, because I think she does deeply care about him as a person, it would have been like great, because it's like either okay, yeah, maybe we could go out and see, see how it goes, or I'm not interested in you that way, but that's okay, we can still be friends. And like if he just expresses like, well, I'm just afraid I'm gonna lose you.
I do love the ambiguity of the way that Indy portrays Nikki, because they're in the car when they're together and they're talking about the cat, and he's like, it hasn't hit me yet, and she says, you can talk to me whenever it does. She kind of, it almost looks like she regrets even saying that, because it's almost like she's always there to be the person that he relies on whenever something emotionally tragic happens to him.
Right.
And it's like, this is a repeating thing that kind of happens in their life, and she's like, oh,
it's almost like he likes her so much that he is leaning on her for everything.
Yeah.
And that makes her kind of feel like he only is using her.
And
which he kind of, in a sense, is.
Yeah, and when she does ask him and he says, no, I just see you as a friend, she also has this kind of like, well, good. She feels disappointed, because I think we know that she knows that he's lying. But I also do think that there's a little thing in her which is like, I just wanted him to say yes, so at least I could have the opportunity to either say no, or even if I do say yes, we could see where the relationship goes, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Or at least give her the opportunity. The thing is, he makes her feel crazy.
Yeah.
Because he gives her, he's not giving her the opportunity to actually process that and be like, okay, now I understand why you behave in the way that you do. Now I understand why you're constantly leaning on me in this way. Now I understand. But instead, he lies, and it basically makes her feel crazy, because she's like, well, you're either dishonest with me, or you're incredibly weird, because why, if you don't like me, why do you do all the things you do and behave in the way that you do? And then it makes her feel paranoid. So it's very unfair to lie to her about that.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I feel like that moment's very, very important to the rest of the movie.
Right, because it's a whole different movie if
he
says I like you,
and
she
rejects
says
him,
no, and then he wishes anyway.
Yeah,
it becomes way less nuanced.
Yeah. And it makes him the villain like instantaneously.
Which he is the villain.
He is the villain, but you kind of have to unfold the layers to like figure out like this is a deep-rooted like problem that this guy has, and that's what makes him bad, is because he's just so selfish. He can't see past Nikki being an actual like person.
Yeah, like you feel bad for him because he's sad.
Yeah.
But in his sadness, he turns to selfishness. He becomes selfish about the way he
can never be a Jedi. He would instantly be seduced to the dark side. Oh damn, we are already 40 minutes in.
Oh, we're fucked. Okay. So after the wish, one thing I want to point out is that she's on the porch, the silhouette. You can, if you're watching on YouTube, you see the image. She sits like that, and I think after the wish they shroud her in silhouettes a lot, because it's showing that this is not Nikki. It's like the shape of Nikki.
Yeah,
that's something that she's kind of different now. And it's almost like her details, her essence is gone.
Yeah,
it's just the shape of her being taken over by a reflection of his own desires. That's why she kind of mirrors him at the beginning. She talks about, oh, my cat died.
Yeah.
She lies about her dad having cancer. She tries to like say that she's like fucked up, and oh, can I go home with you?
Yeah.
And she immediately just becomes, in a way, kind of leverages sadness as a way to just get to his house. And, it's interesting.
I mean, she's doing the same thing that he does. She's using like traumatic events to get on his emotional side. Like,
sure, yeah. She starts leaning on him a bit.
Yeah. And I love his own reactions, because that's so real. It's like, what are you doing? Like, this is obviously something's wrong. Like, you switched. Like, there's like weird stuff is going on. And we even see her first switch on and off, where she's like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And then she goes back into it.
Yeah. One thing that does unsettle me a bit is how, and I get why he's laughing because the audience is laughing too, but like,
Yeah,
it is a way that like, he kind of just, he's like, she's being entertaining and shit,
yeah,
and he's like, yeah, you should go home, but then of course she persists and persists.
yeah,
And then they get back to his house, and she gets in his bed, and she's like, "No, sleep with me. I'm gonna be awake all night.
yeah.
If not." And this is what's uncomfortable.
This is when it gets really, really murky. It's like,
yeah, because then she tries to kiss him. He hesitates once, and then she tries again, and he indulges.
And then she snaps out of it
Well,
for a second.
yes, she snaps out of it several times throughout the movie. I like this one because it's a jump scare
Yeah,
where she, it plays a loud noise, and I like it because it's a jump scare for Nikki. Like, Nikki is experiencing a jump scare. She essentially like wakes up for a second and she's kissing essentially a guy that she sees as a brother, and it's weird, and she just like snaps out, and freaks out. And I think it's interesting because you kind of get to empathize with Nikki in that way when you get jolted and scared by what's happening.
Well, it's also the music. I love the music in this movie because it's always being reflective of how the audience or how Bear is viewing Nikki. It's like the music gets very strange whenever Nikki gets very strange. It gets very kind of rosy whenever Nikki gets a bit rosy, and whenever you kind of feel like there's something there. But it also has that kind of that weird, I don't know if it's like off key or it kind of like it goes up and in the different places with the score, but there's this sense of uneasiness, like there's something off with the score, and I love it. I love how it just kind of goes off into like, this is not normal, but it feels right. Like the music feels like it's being a part of the emotional scene.
Yeah, and place. So when it gets abruptly cut off by the jump scare,
so does the music.
So does the music, and so the way that again, it's that difference between love and romance. It's like he forces a love, but then when things get quote romantic, like it gets more real and intimate, then she kind of like snaps out of it. It's because that's not part of the wish. The wish doesn't need to. The wish doesn't need romance. It needs love to work, and so he forces love.
And then the freak out happens so bad that he does sleep on the ground for a bit, and then he goes to
Probe,
which is like Google, but like an alien site. I don't know. But he looks up like if the wish actually, the One Wish Willow actually works, and there's this kind of like this Reddit kind of thing, where some people, there seems to be a back and forth between two guys where it's like, no, it doesn't work. It's a collectible from the 80s. A guy who obviously didn't actually use it and break it, versus another guy who's like, yes, it absolutely does work.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting because the people that say no, it doesn't, they also illustrate that they haven't tried. Yeah. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So the implication is that it always works. It's just the people that haven't don't know. And also, this movie's fucking ridiculous because
the logic doesn't work. Even Curry Barker said the logic is flawed, but that's not the point. It's
the point is it's this like little fairy tale. It's like very contained to this one group of people.
Yeah. It's like Hansel and Gretel. It's like this kind of fable.
It's like if the One Wish Willow actually existed, the world would be just on fire. Like there would be just like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it does exist. I don't know, the world's pretty on fire. But you know what I mean. There would be like dragons flying around and like shit happening.
Trump probably got one and was like, I want to be the president and rule the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, great.
Yeah, it's bad.
But yeah, the next morning, they kind of talk about it. They're like, he wakes up and
she put out his cat's corpse with like a candle, and this is something I struggled with in the movie, but I think you and our friend last night kind of cracked it.
Yeah.
Which is that she's essentially trying to expedite the grieving process of the cat so that
So that he doesn't think about the cat anymore, so that he could only think about her.
Right, with the flowers, and then she cooks the cat, which is like trying to get rid of it in a sense, like
Yeah.
get it through his system in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get it out of his system.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I interpret it, but also I again, the Aladdin thing is interesting, bringing stuff back from the dead. It's almost what happens. And also she says something like, "Oh, you're supposed to like it," and he's like, "No, it's fucked." And she's like, "I don't know if it's fucked. Is that good?"
It's like, obviously not. Like any normal person would be like, good? Yeah, why would that be good?
It's almost like they're talking about the wish, where it's like, "No, you're supposed to like it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why would that be good?"
Yeah. But again, strange night. He goes to work the next day. He tells Ian about it, and nothing makes sense. And Ian's like, "Well, maybe she was on Molly."
And again, he puts everything on Nikki. He's like, "She was just being weird. She was acting this way. She was acting that way."
He doesn't even mention the cat thing, which is like something you probably should mention, is because that's the most extreme thing I think that she did. That kind of showcases that there is something wrong with her.
He hides that constantly. Even when he eats the cat later, he's like, inside joke.
Yeah.
It's like everything that would implicate him, he hides. But all the stuff that's, "Oh, Nikki's just crazy. She's going through something, guys."
Yeah.
He'll put out into, and he'll say that again, not being honest.
Yeah.
And just not like, if he was honest about every single thing that happened in order.
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, "Okay, so something's very wrong. We got to investigate this," and there would be teamwork to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
But
Ian, he talks to Nikki about it. Nikki's like, and basically gives Nikki the idea that she was on Molly, so that she could have an excuse to get back at Bear and be like, "Yeah, I was on what is it,
MDMA?"
Yeah, which I thought was really funny, because anybody would say Molly. You don't say the government name of the of the drug you're taking.
Yeah, that is what's interesting.
But I thought that was really funny. And then she's like, "Well, yeah, I like you." And he for a brief moment, between that moment and the end of the montage that happens right after, he gets what he wants. He gets the Nikki that's like loving him, and he loves her, and they're having a great time. They're making food together. They're laughing. They're watching TV. They're doing all this great stuff.
But eventually the scale tips.
Yeah, and then she just becomes a bit more obsessive than he ever was.
Yes, and another thing I want to mention is when she's on the porch, she says, "I'm not saying you took advantage of me," and he's like, "I didn't. I don't think I did." She's like, "I'm saying you didn't," and he's like, "Okay, I didn't."
And even he admits it. He's like, "I don't think I did."
He knows that he did.
He knows he did.
He's being defensive, even though she's not saying he did. It's very telling. And this is when he finally says that he has feelings for her, but she has to ask. Even this version of Nikki is like more honest than him, and like upfront about how she feels about him. It's kind of funny that like he's still less honest than even the broken Nikki that he created.
Yeah. I also love the music during the montage, because it sounds like this great loving, like they're together music, but then every time at the end it has that kind of like question mark of a note. It's like, is it okay? No, I don't think it is.
Yeah. There's a small textual symbol, like there's a small bit of text of AI in this part where she has a little AI photo of them that's like, "I want to wear your skin like a sweater."
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting, just because this movie does remind me of people that use ChatGPT to supplant human relationships as therapists, as getting advice, as how do I get my crush to like me? Like almost like the wish is almost like a prompt.
And it's almost like the people who have like AI girlfriends. It's like they're just mirroring what he's saying. They're just agreeing with what he's saying, and like, they're just trying to make him feel good and happy.
Exactly. And I think this movie, through Nikki and the way that she's kind of become two people in one body, shows how that artificial idea of love that isn't real, and like it kind of, I guess that artificial idea that we think love is, or people like Bear think of love as,
Yeah.
is not, does not mix with real people. It does not mix with the reality.
There's always friction. There's always friction, no matter how much you love someone, or there's always
Yeah,
gonna
they
be
might not
some,
like
yeah.
pina coladas.
Yeah, I did actually see this one. I think it was a TikTok earlier that kind of pissed me off, because this guy was like, "Obsession has AI in it. They're talking AI. Don't." And I'm like, no, that's not what's going on. If anything, it's against AI.
If anything, it's a bit of a
And
commentary.
in the commentary, yeah.
And I thought this on my second watch. I was like, this is like an anti-AI movie without using any AI.
Yeah.
And I felt too crazy for that take that I just like haven't put it out fully yet, because I don't think it works like with everything in the movie, and I don't want to diminish what the movie's saying about consent and all those things by being like, oh, it's like a deep fake Nikki, you know, because it's like you do want to treat this like a real human being, because in the movie it is, but
in a way that is just what he wants. Is like, he wants an AI girlfriend, but like in a real body. It's like that one Companion movie, which I haven't seen, but it's I guess you could kind of share some similarities with the whole idea of like being in a relationship with something that doesn't really have
autonomy.
Yeah.
No, Companion definitely plays with that a lot, and this is actually a little bit similar to that. I'm glad you brought that up. But the montage is exactly what he wanted. He just wanted that montage. Everything after that, it's like, oh wait, no, I actually have to like be there for her now, and this is how she is, and this is what I've created, and now I have to actually lay in this bed that I've made.
Well, I think the first kind of the first instance in which, you know, it becomes a much bigger problem than he ever thought it would have been, it was when he finds out that, when Ian calls him and is like, she faked her dad having cancer, and he brings it up to her.
He would have known that sooner and suspected that sooner if he knew more. I mean, maybe he did know and just disregarded it, but like, his friends have to constantly remind him she doesn't like her dad.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even thinking about that, because the idea that she's upset about that and wants his comfort is too enticing to him for him to question.
Yeah. And I think that, well, when he asks, is like, so does your dad actually have cancer? And she says no. And you, at first you're like, she's replying to his question, but what it just kind of triggers her to where she's like, no, let's not change the subject. But it's like,
it's like, don't do that.
It's like she's finding out that he's finding out things that he doesn't like about her, and because that's an uncomfortable position to have on her, she can't have him like her any less than she likes him.
It's almost like the tunnel vision of like, I'm going to lie to you and build this relationship off of being performative and not being honest, because I just love you so much. Because, again, he asked for love. He didn't ask for respect. He didn't ask for romance. He didn't ask for honesty. He asked for love. And love is actually, I think, it's one thing, but it's not tied to those things all of the time, you know?
Yeah.
Like...
And I mean, in the end of that scene, she's like, "What does it matter?" Like it, and he doesn't even seem to care that much either, because the scene right after that, they're having sex, even though he knows that he is the reason. Like, he even, like, you could see they cut to him realizing that this is all because of him. It's because of the One Wish Willow. He's kind of figured it out at this point, and he's still using her.
And so in a way, when she says, "Why does it matter? I thought we were having a nice date. Why does it matter?" It is her, in a sense, directly asking him, does it matter to you that I do not want this, and that it is actually your fault that I am acting this way?
Yeah.
And he literally just says,
no,
doesn't matter to me. Also, we learn he has like no ambition in that scene.
Yeah, that's another big thing, because that was kind of another clue as to me assuming that he probably wanted to commit suicide earlier, like around the time the movie's, like, the beginning of the movie, but he never went through it. and his cat probably got into it and accidentally died, overdosed because of it. But because he has no ambition, you kind of see that this guy is like really depressed. Like he does, like there's nothing in his life that's important other than Nikki. He sees no future for himself. That doesn't even include Nikki. And so, and it's not like he's like a complete like loser moron. Like he seems to be a very good musician. Like he was in band. He works at a music store, and even the his boss is like, play new Moon River on the piano for this couple or whatever customer. He has skill. Like he probably could have been like doing something in the industry like with music, but we don't even get close to that type of thinking or idea about who this guy could have been, because he didn't think of himself as like having some kind of future. He was so depressed, and the only thing that he cared about was Nikki.
But the thing is too is like, he needs all that validation and stuff, and he was probably just too afraid to put himself out there musically in that way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to get, again, rejected by the rest of the world either. And so that's why he never pursues that. And I think the movie just shows you that it's like, in order to be happy, you have to risk rejection.
Yeah.
And be okay with that. And so because when people are unwilling to risk rejection, they absolutely need to be accepted, and they just want to buy their way out of it and, you know, get a quick fix of how to, you know, get accepted. And, you know, just people that literally spend all their time on the internet trying to figure out what they need to say and do to be liked, you know?
Yeah.
And to be the person that you know, to get other people to feel about them the way they want them to feel. Instead of risking, you know, you're going to get rejected by some people are going to come into your life and out of your life, and you will find there's plenty of time. Yeah. You'll find your people, you'll find, you know, the thing that clicks, but you're never going to find that if you're too interested in skipping steps.
Yeah.
And you don't care about what other people think.
Yeah. And so, I think that we really kind of, with that scene, we get like kind of the crux of what his psychological state of the situation is. And I think that's really when the true like horror comes out of the movie, like that sex scene and then the scene after where she's in the corner doing kind of like the Hereditary style hiding in the shadows.
To me, the scene's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's also, it is like creepy, but it's funnier to me than it is creepy.
It's funny to me to watch him in bed just like, where the fuck are you? Like, I don't know, something about his hopelessness in that scenario where she's just running around and he's like, I'm so fucking scared right now. It gives me the same humor as like that photo of Michael Caine when it's like, Bane is the scariest guy I've ever seen in my entire life.
I don't think I've seen
it. Oh, it's so funny. It's him crying at like the funeral in Dark Knight Rises, and it just says on the caption, like, Bane is the scariest guy I've ever seen in my life.
I can see that.
It's so funny because Bear's just sitting up in the bed. He's like, Nikki, where are you? That, for some reason, is so funny to me.
I think the scary part is when she's in the corner and she's like just barely out in the shadows, and she starts crying, and she's like, I had a nightmare, and like I felt.
This says, like, I don't like my dreams.
Yeah,
and I think it's a separate thought. She's like, I don't think you love me as much as I do.
Yeah, and I think that's the scary part, because you kind of figure out that's kind of this. You kind of put together that there's like a split, or not even a split. There's like how I've always said is that there's kind of a rewiring of the brain, and there's the original Nikki that's been like, it's almost like someone put like a drive in her head and like downloaded information, and then she has to like compute with that information. But every once in a while, it'll hit a block road and it glitches out, and she has to come back in and out.
Yeah. And
like whenever she's sleeping, that's when the real Nikki can kind of come out and like at least like put out some like dreams and information that the new Nikki is like, I don't like sleeping, and then she starts doing just creepy stuff because the body and the two Nickies are just all kind of fighting, not really knowing what to do, not knowing how to make him happy, make him love her as much as she loves him, and we're just in this weird position.
Well, here's what I think is that he wishes for her to love him more than anything in the world. She, starts off by trying to win his affection. Then she does because he's willing to be in that relationship.
Yeah.
They get the montage moment, and like it's happy at first. The reason it's happy at first is because, she feels like she's getting places with him. This version of Nikki, and then
for a moment they both are.
They're aligned in a way.
Yeah, it's really when he finds out that she's been lying about the dad, and that tips the balance a bit.
Yes, I think So I think it's the fact that this version of Nikki, yes, the law of nature, if you will, of the One Wish Willow will force the truth to be, she loves me more than anything in the world. That doesn't mean that this new Nikki doesn't have feelings and think, but I love you more than anything in the world. So I need you to love me back.
Yeah.
And so because she loves him more than anything, she has nothing else.
Yeah.
She focuses on nothing else. And so then
she becomes an exaggerated version of himself at the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
The reason that she's like him is because there's nothing else to balance it out. And so it's I like that even this new Nikki has her own feelings that are like, what? Why don't you like me? But because she's in such an unnatural state, she's forced into the love. That's why she acts creepy and freaks out in unsettling ways, because it's an unnatural thing that's happening.
Yeah.
I see it as her agency and the rest of herself are bifurcated and split in two, so that the brain can be rewired to love him, because the agency is what prevents that. Her own feelings and autonomy would prevent that, because she doesn't. So it's a conflict. So it's like, okay, let's brush that part aside and let's disregard the consent part and take it out. And so that stuff gets suppressed.
Yeah.
And so it comes out in moments. I do not like the take that it's, there's a demon or a supernatural entity
I don't like that either.
That comes in and takes over Nikki and has to be Nikki, and like
the whole possession thing just doesn't really, I don't think it works.
No, it doesn't. It's the idea that her brain is rewired to make the wish granted.
Yeah.
And it has to bypass consent to do that, which is exactly what, if you take the magic out of the movie, in order for Bear to get what he wants from Nikki, because Nikki doesn't like him back, he would also have to bypass consent. So it's essentially a movie about, he's a rapist in the movie. That's rape.
Yeah.
And there's this whole idea of rape culture where it's like everything in the world kind of there's so much messaging and so many problematic things out there that kind of make that stuff feel okay to people. And even in the music store, the owner of the store, Sarah's dad, he says, I don't want some Karen to come in here. And Nikki's like, you can't don't say Karen. And he goes, what, a Karen? Isn't that someone that says no?
Yeah.
It's like, that's like saying, you said no to me, you're a bitch then.
Yeah.
I don't think that's literally like, I don't think it's trying to say that guy is like a rapist, but I think it's these little things that make people like that contribute to the ultimate evil act of doing that. It kind of the dominoes that lead there that we've culturally set up.
Yeah. There's also, she does this thing where she holds up a flower.
Yes.
And my thought is that it's kind of a metaphor for how, like, she is kind of like a flower. She's kind of like this beautiful thing that, is kind of just there for decoration. It's there as something that's still like kind of alive. You kind of have to take care of it, but it'll wither away and die if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And but it has no it has no way of like communicating. It's not like a pet where it's like you could like play around with it. It's like it's just there. It's almost like she's a trophy wife in a way. She's
Sure.
just there, and that's all he wants her to be. Just kind of like a pretty thing, a thing that I could have for myself and put all my emotions and can like lean on her for, but like he's not getting anything from her really. Like he's not there. It's a one-sided relationship. There's nothing that at this point there's nothing that she could bring to the relationship because she's lost all of her personality and her autonomy. There's nothing she could bring. Like it's like a flower. There's nothing the flower could really bring to you except for just like it's pretty and it maybe smells good.
And you just gotta water it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. She says the flowers are for Sandy.
Yeah, still trying to get that cat.
Well, I think what's happening is let's just call her Freaky Nikki. I think Freaky Nikki is believing that the cat is what is making him not focus on her as much.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh, maybe I can like try to, I guess, in my own weird way, like make that okay.
Yeah.
So that he will focus on me only.
Yeah.
Or he will love me more as a result of doing this, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like when he tries to replace her crystal necklace. It's like, I just need to like fill in for whatever problem you're having.
It with all the cat stuff, it does feel like she's kind of pushing for him to like forget the cat or even just like be repulsed from the thought of the cat because she wants him to just focus on her and only her. And that's why it's interesting that she just stands there with the vase, like that's all she is a flower, and then it's like
yeah, there's even a
not
poster
working.
of her holding.
Yeah, it's not. It's like
face.
It's not working. So she has to like flip it and be like, oh, it's for Sandy, and it's to kind of again, it's almost like a rewiring and a glitch in her head. It's like every weird thing that she does, she has to kind of find an excuse for why she's doing it, even though she doesn't really know why she's doing it because she's kind of forced from this wish that she has to do these things that she doesn't even understand why she's doing.
Yeah, it's interesting. He takes away her agency and her ability to control what she's doing, and then he asks her, control yourself.
Yeah.
That's the fucked up part.
Yeah.
And I think that's to say that it's some demonic entity would diminish the theme of codependency as well, because I know people who have related to Nikki in this movie feeling like you're not yourself when you're in that kind of relationship dynamic where you feel like you need the other person to survive.
Yeah. And then the next day, it's like, okay, what a weird night. But then it gets really bizarre because then she can't even explain what happened. She does does this help? And then she just smiles for like 30 seconds. And he's like, no, it doesn't. And she's like, oh, well, okay. I made you some lunch. And then she's basically, she's just like, I'm sorry. I won't do that again. And he's like, cool. Don't do that. Like,
and then he sees
it's like, oh, we fixed it. And then he sees the door and it's like taped to the max, and he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
We've passed the weird line into like this is like totally bizarre. Like we're in totally bizarre. There is no like explaining this. He can't even tell this.
That's
to
why
his friends.
he just acts like it doesn't exist. Even like in the moment, he doesn't say anything about it. He just opens the door. He struggles for a sec. He's like, and she's like, if you're struggling, just stay home. And he's like, no, I got it. He's not gonna tell anyone that that's what happened to the door. He's not gonna, he's not going to explain any of these things to his friends because they're too weird to explain.
Yeah,
he's trying really hard to make it explainable, but it's not.
Yeah. And then when we get to work, is Sarah gets rejected from one of the colleges.
It's another place where a character gets interrupted from telling the truth when her dad walks in.
Yeah.
Because she's about to tell him about Ian and Nikki as well. And it's interesting because Sarah does like care about Bear, and like she's like, I just don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because if she understood the full picture, she would understand Bear's to blame.
Yeah.
But in a way, she comforts Bear in the way that she talks about Nikki in the way that, I mean, this is later, but she's kind of viewing Nikki's codependency and obsession the way that they should have been looking at Bear's in the beginning and helping him, but they couldn't because nobody really knew about it. He wasn't honest about it. He was too afraid of being cringe to even act like anything was wrong. And
even
Nikki,
when he eats part of his cat, which is what she does for his lunch, and he throws it up, he's just like, it's an inside joke. He can't talk about it. Like,
yes. And Nikki is actually willing to put herself out there in this way and be open about how she feels about Bear and the codependency that she has, and like she doesn't like really like sugarcoat it around other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting, is that's what makes everyone concerned for her. And Bear always hid that stuff. So nobody was worried about it.
Yeah. Then we get the scene after where, Ian's he gives Ian a drive back home, and they kind of have to like talk about the relationship, because obviously Ian's like, dude, what is with you guys? Like, there's something up. And he's like, well, she won't leave me alone. She's kind of he's hiding it.
Yeah.
He's hiding his own guilt and his own.
He says that's unfair.
Yeah. His the problem. And so Ian's like, okay, so if there is no problem with the relationship, then she won't have a problem with the boys' night, even though it's technically not a boys' night. But he kind of pushes him to have that conversation with Nikki, and right before he gets home, he finds the box for the One Wish Willow, and he calls the number on it. And he tries to alter the wish.
Which is fucked. Yeah. It's like he knows what's going on, and his first reaction is, can I alter the wish?
I am curious what he would have said if he altered it. Would have been like, I want Nikki to be...
I think he would have said, like, I just want Nikki to act normal. I still want her to be in love with me, but I want her to act normal.
Yeah.
And that would have probably fucked her up even more.
Yeah, because I don't know
there's no way to make that happen. That's the thing, is that this movie is literally a man's rude awakening to the fact that a woman choosing is actually part of who she is. You can't have a woman and also expect her to not have any choice in the matter. And so it's karmic justice for her to be acting so weird, and him having to constantly have to deal with that, because it's like, oh wait, she can actually just she might love me, but I can't control how she actually acts.
Yeah.
And whatever that means.
And this is like a really good part in which Curry Barker kind of like he draws the line so thinly between comedy and horror, because you go from Curry Barker in that scene, he's the guy on the phone he sounds like he's kind of been through all this. It's kind of funny. He's like, oh, what do you want? Like,
he's
you
like,
change
you
your
cancel it? I was just guessing your intentions. We don't really do that.
And then you hear Nikki, like the real Nikki, like in some kind of limbo, just screaming, which is like the real true horror of the movie. And then he hangs up. So he knows for sure that what he's doing is bad, that she's not real. Like the person that the fake Nikki is not the real Nikki. It's not real. It's real, but it's not real.
He says, just because you chose us for it doesn't make it less real. And there's a few ways to interpret that. One is, I interpret it as like, just because you chose this reality for her, it doesn't mean that the suffering isn't real. It doesn't mean that she's not actually, suffering. We see that at the end when Nikki wakes up at the end. It's like, she's still in hell in a way. She's still experiencing one of the most horrific things you could experience, and she has to live with that. And so it's still real.
Yeah.
And also like, when it's a response to the question, is her love real?
Yeah.
And I think it's like, yeah,
that's not real.
Well, No, it is.
The new Nikki, yes, but the original, like the
Right, exactly. He what he doesn't understand is that in order for Nikki to love him, it has to be a different Nikki. It has to
yeah,
change the brain.
it's like a completely new, different person, and it's not the person he fell in love with.
Because the person he liked didn't like him back,
Yeah,
and the person he liked didn't like him back, and part of who that person was that he liked was the agency and the consent and the autonomy that she had. And so when you disregard that stuff to be like, I just want her to like me, you actually change fundamentally who that person is in the process. So it's just this guy realizing that, oh, a woman's agency is actually like part of her, and you can't just pluck that out and then have the cool chill Nikki that I like be cool and chill and pretty, and then let's just get past the obstacle of consent. No,
yeah,
the consent is actually part of the human being that
yeah.
you supposedly care about so much.
And then this is also when we get the news that the only way to break the wish is for him to die. He has to kill himself, or like his life has to end in some way for the wish to stop. And in a weird way, he's like in another dilemma, because at the beginning of the movie, we could assume that he wanted to kill himself, he wanted to die, but now that he has this opportunity to do it in a somewhat of a good way, in a way to release Nikki from her horrors, he would have to kill himself. But he doesn't want to kill him. He doesn't want to die. He's turned on that notion, because in a weird way, he has what he wants, but it's just not working in the way that he wants it to work.
You know what's interesting? It's the ultimate codependency, because in order for this guy to get over himself and to get over the fact that, his crush doesn't like him, and take the steps to realize, oh, my life is actually there's more to life than just this obsession I have, right? He has to ruin this woman's life.
Yeah.
Like, he takes everything from this woman. He absolutely ruins her life, and
by doing that, it also ruins his own life.
Yes, but not by choice,
Yeah.
in terms of the ending, because he does choose to kill himself at the end, but he changes his mind. He's like, wait, but I actually want to live, and she has to take his ability to choose away in order for him to actually go through with it, because that's who Bear is. He would never do the right thing on his own.
I am curious what he would have done if she hadn't have made the wish at the end. I wonder if, like, so he was going to throw up all the pills. What was he going to do after that? Is he going to kill her? Like, what were his intentions? Like, in what way was he going to fix this situation that he was in, if not kill himself?
So, you know what's an interesting thing about this movie is that I think it shows how, because people are so unwilling to be cringe and get rejected and be open about the way they feel and their problems, but we're so willing to talk about other people's dirty laundry and air out other people's shit and talk shit about other people behind their back in this society that we've created.
Yeah.
He actually does. He actually finds the advice from Sarah that he needed at the beginning, but she's giving it to Nikki through him.
Yeah.
And so it's like nobody would because he would never open up about himself. He just wants to talk about Nikki's obsession, which is really what his obsession was at the beginning of the movie. But because it's another person now, he's able to put that blame onto her and be like, oh, bro, like she's so codependent, she's obsessed, and like then the other friends can be like, yeah, she needs therapy, she needs this, she needs that. And it's like, I bet somebody would talk about him that way at the beginning of the movie, but they would never actually say it to him, like, no. Hey buddy, you need help.
No, I mean, they would at the beginning. If he would have talked about that stuff, I think Sarah definitely would have had his back on that and been like, it's literally that men will do anything but therapy. Yeah, even Nikki probably would have been on his side and been like, yeah, I think you're just depressed and you need to see some help right now. But that doesn't happen, and he gets home, and Nikki's full of shit and throw up and piss all over herself, and she's like a pet. She's like a little puppy that you get.
She mirrors the cat.
Yeah, and doesn't know how to control her body anymore because it's almost like she's on sleep mode. She's just like her, like all that exists for her is the thought of him and him only, and so her body just kind of like flushes out everything that needs to be flushed out without any
she
autonomy.
doesn't know how to operate when he's not around because all she knows is him, and therefore she's him at the beginning. Like it's like when before Nikki calls him, what's he doing? Sitting in the dark, scrolling on his phone, like Nikki, looking at pictures of her, and then she calls him, and then suddenly he jolts up and he turns the light on because now I have a reason to be talking and to be a person.
And then she says, "Okay, I'm gonna clean up." And he's a coward. He's like, we talked about this. You can't cook our cat, my cat. And she's like, yeah, okay. She doesn't really care. She like the cat is like her main op. She's like, I hate that cat. She doesn't say that, but I could only assume that's Nikki just is trying to get that cat over with. But because he's an awful person, he's like, well, Ian invited me over to a boys' night, and instead of being a good boyfriend that instead of actually thinking about Nikki, she's in this situation where she's puking all over, she's sick. Instead of saying, I'm going to stay home, I'm going to take care of you, we're going to figure this out, we're going to do something, we're going to think about you for once. Instead, he's like, Ian invited me to a boys' night, I'm going to go do that instead. And obviously she freaks out, like rightfully so, not just because she's freaky Nikki, but rightfully so. She's like, what? And even like Sarah's going, and because obviously it wasn't a boys' night initially, it's like an actual party. And so again, we get this reoccurring thing in which the last thing he's thinking of is the best thing for Nikki, and it's only like, how can I make this about me? How can I make it look good on me? How can I save this situation to make me look good? And, but no, any person, any guy that walks in and sees that their girlfriend is like sick and like not doing well, if you're a good person, you would be like, no, I'm not gonna go to a party and leave her here. It's almost like the beginning of of Midsummer. When
yes when she's on the bed and he's like,
it's like, I'm gonna go to this it's gonna be a few minutes, I'll be back, and she's like grieving over her dead parents.
I'm only gonna be
family.
There for like 30 minutes.
And it's like, no, stay with your girlfriend. Like, if you actually care. Well, obviously in that movie's a little bit of a different situation. He wants to get out of a relationship, but yeah, he's a totally like he's a coward and a total asshole and and a selfish person. And you kind of see it even from that scene. It's supposed to be scary because she's like banging and like screaming and all that, but if you think of it from her point of view,
it's interesting because all the freaky Nikki stuff is kind of like scary on a surface level, but really it's what he deserves, so it's funny. The scary stuff is when you just see how Nikki is perceiving these things. So again, horror comedy is like that relationship, and it's really bad. Also, I do like the line when he's with Sarah at the store and she gets rejected and he says, you can give me a tattoo without school. And it's like, this is the thing, you don't, when we convince ourselves that we need things that are outside of our control to happen, to be happy and to be willing to exist, that becomes so dangerous, because then we start to become selfish and we start to wish that we could control other people and other things outside of our control, and we lean on, that's what he does. He just becomes like codependent and obsessed with Nikki, and
well, you lose the idea of what real priority is. And to him, the only priority is the feelings that Nikki gives him whenever he's around her, and that's the only thing that he cares about. There's nothing else in his life that he has any sort of there's nothing that really matters more in his life, and so there's nothing to strive
nothing.
for. There's literally that's
not there's nothing that matters. There's nothing.
Yeah,
like he just kind of doesn't care to introduce anything else into his life because he wants to focus completely on that. And I just think that it's something that doesn't seem like it just seems like a very isolated, like personal problem to have, but it affects other people a lot.
Yeah,
and it literally ruins this entire friend group. All of them die.
Oh yeah,
and Nikki's just left.
I mean, we're
with
at
all the suffering.
The next scene, we're at the party, and that's kind of the big blow up moment for Nikki and the friend group because they're playing this like kind of like this adult Jenga game where it has little questions and whatnot.
Dares on the things you drink or you do what's on the block.
Yeah. And she gets one. She has to read I don't even know what the question was, but she reads a passage off of her supposed book.
It's probably like share something you've been working on, or like share your last note in your notes.
Yeah, maybe
something like that.
But she does she has like a reciting of like her own version of Hansel and Gretel, where Hansel and Gretel are like having sex with each other, and it's very messed up and quite poetically wrote. But it kind of shows that she knows that this relationship exists because of the One Wish Willow, and it gives a bit of credence to the idea that before that she kind of saw him as a little brother, kind of like Hansel and Gretel, or brother and sister, and now they are together and are kind of like this incestuous relationship that shouldn't work.
Unnatural.
And it's taboo, and we have this idea that this is not supposed to happen. This is wrong. This is not a relationship that should be, and yet it is. And everybody, especially he, kind of figures, he's like, he sees what she's saying, and it's messed up, and he knows it's messed up.
Yeah, and she says the love that only a branch of a willow tree could conjure.
Yeah,
which is like
One Wish
Willow. It's like you would have to force it.
Yeah,
it's not natural. You would have to force it. Also, there's a small moment where a guy takes a Jenga block, and Bear's sitting next to Nikki, and it says switch seats with anybody, and he goes, Bear, I want to sit next to Nikki.
Yeah.
And it's this little moment. It doesn't ultimately matter too much, but it shows that a lot of it just shows like what I've been talking about, which is that guys will just take advantage of whatever situation, regardless of how the other person feels, and be like, no, I want to sit next to this cute girl over here.
Yeah, for me, I just think it's a cool way of just kind of showing the layout of everybody, as well as, they're swapping seats because he's probably like, I want to sit next to Nikki because if I get the one which it says to kiss the girl to the left, that could be me. And
sure,
but
that implies they know every single block. They could.
I would assume
or
so.
Or they could have just busted that shit out that night,
Yeah, but like it also just does. That's such a weird thing to like. Oh, let me switch places with your. Even though they're together.
It's to get Bear next to Sarah, which is like an important part of the plot. But the thing is, I think it makes sense because it shows how these party games are kind of designed to like circumvent like consent and be like, okay, like, oh, we have to do this. We have to,
Yeah, it's like spin the bottle. It's like,
exactly.
Or like
I think it's a bit of a critique of those sorts of things, which often just are just like, oh, let's get, let's invite a bunch of girls to play this game with us where we might get to kiss them, or we might get to, like, I think those things are kind of messed up when you think about them.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a nice nugget to allude to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great scene because not only does she have to she gives that fantastic monologue, but also Bear has to go next, and then he picks out, you have to kiss the girl to your left, or the person to your left, which is Sarah. Obviously, that pisses Nikki off. But again, Bear is just one of the dumbest people because he could have read that and been like, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to take a shot. And that would have been the end of it. But no.
Yeah, he didn't have to read it out loud, you know.
And then, Nikki pushes or pulls Sarah out of the way, and then, kisses him instead, or he kisses her because she puts herself next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of announces to everybody, this is my guy, and nobody could have him except me. And then she kind of plays it off as a joke, and then she draws back and she's like, no, actually, no.
Yeah,
no,
this is again. I don't care if it's cringe.
Yeah,
like this is how I feel. Freaky Nikki is more forward about her feelings than anybody in the movie.
Yeah,
and I think that is very funny.
And then she freaks out. The real Nikki like kind of comes in a bit and is like, "Oh, get him away." What? I don't remember what she says. She
says it's not me.
Yeah, and then she tries to kill herself by hitting herself in the head with a broken glass a few times, and then the other Nikki comes back in and she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
And then also I love how in this moment you see that Bear is now desensitized to this to this idea. She's probably freaked out a lot,
and he's like, get up, asshole, because he's like,
and Bear's just sitting there. He doesn't give a shit. He's just like completely miserable, and they're like, you have to be there for her. It's interesting because Nikki has no obligation at the beginning of the film to be there for Bear in the way that he wants her to. She is like a friend, like she's like, you can talk to me, but she has no obligation to be what he needs her to be or wants her to be.
Yeah.
But because Bear wished this to happen, he actually does have an obligation to be to match her freak. You know what I mean? And to be there for her, and he won't do it. And that's the ultimate cowardice. It's like, you put her in this place, and then you don't even want to, like, you won't even be there for her, even though you claimed to love this person so much.
And it's like this domino effect. They wouldn't be at the party if you didn't say, no, let me stay home and take care of Nikki, and this stuff wouldn't have happened.
I love that line, I would choose you over everything at the beginning, and then throughout the entire movie he chooses other things over Nikki every single fucking time. Yeah.
And that's just it kind of adds on to the fact that he consistently, like, he's becoming more and more and more the villain. He's like, he started off as like kind of the villain, but then it's like, no, you keep pushing it and you keep doing things that you only think could save yourself rather than saving Nikki or doing something about it. But no, he would rather be in that relationship than admit that it's not supposed to be. It's not right. And so they get home, and he's like, "Why can't you be normal? Why can't you be Nikki?" And then she's like, "I can't. I can't be Nikki. This is."
Well, she's like, "I'll be anything you want me to be."
He's like, also, "Don't say that." Even though that's what he wants.
Well, when he's learning in a sense that he's like, "Oh, I actually didn't want a Nikki that wanted to be everything I wanted her to be. I wanted Nikki herself to be." Nikki, but also love me, but that just but it's not true. It's like you have to accept that this is part of
you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you lose in a way. She's like, I'll be anything you want me to be, but he's like, Nikki is not a thing you can be. It's not something you could pretend to be. She's Nikki is herself, and she's unique, and he loses that.
And then he's like, yeah, it's not real. And then he gets that really sobering moment. It's like, it never was real. The original Nikki never loved him, and there's no way of like forcing her to love him.
Yeah, I think it's, well, yeah, what he means by it's not real is like, the love doesn't come from Nikki. It comes from something else that I put on to Nikki. Like I put
the love's not real. Like, that's what he's saying.
Well, no, I think the love is technically, like, it exists.
It exists, but it's not from the person that he wanted it from.
Exactly. It's not from Nikki. And he even says during the scene everything was normal, which is like he starts to kind of look back on the life he had and realize how much he didn't appreciate it and how much he again was too obsessed with Nikki, too tunnel vision on Nikki to be like, oh, I had actually so much going, like there was so much to love about my life, and now I've ruined it.
Yeah. And then they start, I think, making out again because she's like, oh, that's all I want.
Well, no, they're about to kiss because
they're
she
about
says,
to.
I love you in every reality.
Yeah.
And that starts to make him feel like
kind of good again. And then she
and then
the best moment happens when
it's your favorite part.
Yeah, because he does again like this kind of David Lynch thing where he kind of puts her in reverse going backwards, and she looks really weird and creepy doing it, and he freaks out. And then she does like this kind of like she like jukes him out. She's like, whoop.
Yeah, she's like,
I would never hurt you.
It's okay, baby. I would never hurt you. And then it ramps up again, and she like steps forward, like,
and it's so fun. It's like she like pranks him, and it's like the funniest thing. I could not believe it.
I think that's just the battle between the Nickies in the brain.
Yeah, it's like I would never hurt you, but then
the other Nicki's mad.
Yeah, and she wants her. And it's so, it is like a scary, creepy moment, but it's just so funny, just from his perspective. Like, it's like she's freaking him out.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Stop it! Like, stay here. I'll go to Ian or something." And then she leaves. She gets a knife, and she basically says she's gonna in the most beautiful way possible. She's like, "I'm gonna kill myself."
She's like, "I will slit my wrist," but she does it in this very poetic writer's way.
Yeah.
Which again, this supports the idea this is not a demonic possession movie where it's something else. It's just a rewiring of the Nikki that exists.
Yeah.
Meaning she still is a writer and she's good at articulating these things.
Yeah.
But it's. Yeah, it's very... Or she's like, or you could stay.
Yeah, and she just guilts him to stay, and he does. And then he's in the bed. He gets a text from Sarah saying they need to talk, and if he doesn't come, then she's going to go to his place, and that would be pretty bad as well. So he sneaks away, but right as he's about to sneak away, the real Nikki like comes out of the body of the sleeping freaky Nikki, and she kind of comes out and she's like, "Kill me," and that's kind of like another moment in which he's like, they've split in some way, and this is the other Nikki.
She says she's sleeping, and I think that confuses people because they're thinking, oh, there's another person in there that's asleep, and now the real Nikki's coming out. But I think what she means is she doesn't identify with who this person is.
Yeah, they're so different from each other that it's like two different people.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like she can have the autonomy to speak during.
It's like a split personality thing.
Yeah, it is like a split personality in a sense. Like she is able to have the autonomy to speak in the night because she can't control the body anyway.
Yeah.
Or like I guess you can't really logic it too much. It's just that it's not some fucking demon.
Yeah, it's not.
That would be reductive to every theme of the movie.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of more like a split personality where it's like a different version of her that's like the real version of her that's not able to express herself through reality, through her own body. But she's like, "Kill me," and then he.
It's the most damning response to that. He says, this is how he says it, and I think this is so important, the way he says it. She's asleep, please kill me, is what she says. And then he goes, what would be so bad? What's so bad about being with me? Like, he starts by saying, hypothetically, what would be so bad? Because he knows that the Nikki he's talking to actually isn't in a relationship with him, and this is some other version of her.
Yeah.
Or this is the original Nikki he's talking to.
Yeah.
And then he corrects himself again. It kind of avoids accountability in a sense. He's like, what's so bad about being with me? And it not only shows that he has a perspective on this, that her saying please kill me is basically saying I would rather die than be with you.
Yeah.
That is not what she's saying. No. She's like, I would rather die than not be in control of my body. I am essentially living in hell because I am experiencing this stuff and I can't do anything.
But he's so selfish, and he only sees from his perspective, and that's the reality in which he thinks he's living in, is that she would rather kill herself than be with him, which is wrong, but that's what he thinks. and he in a way at that moment he kind of hates her for that, and that's why he's not. That's why in a way he doesn't want to kill her. He still wants to find a way to fix the problem in which there's a reality in which they could still be together, but it's not possible.
Yeah, and it's just this, and I think the reason he also feels this way is because his whole thing at the beginning was like, if she's not going to be with me, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So he thinks in that extreme. And so when she's saying that, he's like, oh, so you're saying you'd rather kill yourself than be with me.
Yeah.
It's like, brother, there's so much more to life.
Yeah.
Like using your limbs. that matters a lot as well. And maybe she is upset about that part.
Yeah.
Like, don't flatter yourself, pal.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, she's being used. Like, she's being used, like, straight up. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Fucking awful.
But he does leave. He's able to get away for a sec, and then he meets up with Sarah, who reveals that, you know, Ian and Nikki were hooking up for like 2 years. They're just, 2 years, just non-romantic. Wow. And
there's a deleted scene that Curry mentioned where Nikki says she doesn't really believe in romance. So I think she's just not a romantic person. Yeah. And I think Ian actually is kind of accurate about that when he says she doesn't like the sappy stuff. But it's like, if that's who Bear is he's the sappy person and he's a romantic, then they don't mix, and he needs to find that out by approaching her and expressing himself.
Yeah. And we also get Sarah. She's received her final letter from Luther, and she wants to open it with him. And they have this really great moment in which she says that he needs someone more chill, and then he says, like you.
I also want to mention, he casually mentions having sleeping pills in his pocket as a joke, because he's like, we could tattoo your dad in his sleep, successful daughter on his forehead. And I think the fact that he carries those around, it indicates that he
was probably going to do it.
Considers self-harm a lot.
Yeah. But once we have that great moment where they're like, finally, there's someone that he might actually truly love and who might truly love him back, that's when, you know, their reality, Nikki's reality kicks in, and it's like, we can't have someone who loves you more than I do. And the best jump scare, I guess, happens is when she breaks in and kills Sarah, which is just great to always watch an audience reaction to that.
I always anticipate.
It's so fun. It's like everybody just like, oh, whoa, like people just lose their mind.
And I saw the NC-17 cut of this at Fantastic Fest, and that shit goes on forever.
I wish there's like a director's cut.
There will be. I think on the Blu-ray there will be the unrated version.
Thank God, because and it goes on, like, even in the movie that we get right now, it goes on for a long time.
But
it's
absurd.
Yeah, it's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood end of the movie kind of stuff going on.
But it's absurd in the other cut. And
it's brutal. It's so sad too.
Yeah.
Like when you think, it's like, man, the one seemingly good person in this whole thing, and she gets the shit end of the stick.
I also think it's important that when Sarah says you deserve someone more chill, he says like you.
Yeah.
It's mutual.
Yeah.
The kind of flirting they're doing in that scene, and it's natural. And also, like, Nikki doing that, I view it as like this matrix, like, it's like natural law that the wish operates with.
Yeah.
So it's like, if someone starts to love him, then the wish will be like, well, no, the wish has to still be active while he's alive. So they have to kill that person so that the wish is still true.
Yeah.
You know?
And she says, well, this is your fault. You did this. You wish this. and she's kind of saying it in this like, "Oh, it's your fault." It's like
And I
she's
think
like
it makes
she's
sense.
being like sad about it, and that's so funny to me. It's like she's blaming him, rightfully so. It is his fault,
Yeah.
but she's blaming him in a way that sounds like she's trying to comfort him.
Yeah, but she's like, I'm so glad that you did, though. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you did. And I think the reason she says it that way is because she's basically trying to explain to him, like, it again, it's logical. It's not
Yeah.
like, I actually don't think that she's trying to, like, kick him while he's down or make him feel bad. I think what she's saying is, like, isn't it great that, you know, you like, it's your fault, like, and I'm glad you wished for it,
Yeah.
but just remember, like, the reason I did this is for your wish.
Yeah.
It's what you wanted. It's
Yeah.
your wish. Congrats.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's really fucked up, but it's also really funny that they go back to the store and they stuff the body in like a tuba case. And they also need to go back to the store so that Nikki can grab the gun that Sarah's dad has in the safe.
Yeah, that's like candidly mentioned by Ian in the trivia scene, and I didn't catch that until rewatch that that's how she got that gun.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much shit happens between those two moments, but it's nice to have that Chekhov's gun pay off.
But they never get to read the letter, so he opens it with blood all over it, and she was accepted to Luther, and he loses it.
And the reason that's so heartbreaking to me is that, again, like, she was doing everything right. She was like,
both the characters that had a future just lost it. They lost their well, obviously she died, but it's like the people that had something to look forward to don't. Not anymore.
And to find your future, again, you have to be willing to face rejection, and because Bear wasn't, he robs other people of their future.
Yeah.
And their ability to be independent, because he becomes codependent.
Yeah.
Your wish for your future can't be, I really want this person to do what I want. You know, that's not that's a cursed wish, as Curry would put it.
And yeah, and so he goes back. He tries to get another. He goes back to the store, tries to get another One Wish Willow. He comes in like hot and angry, and the guy's like, "Whoa, you can't come in with that energy." And one of the best jokes is that it's like, "We don't have it. I'm just fucking with you. It's right over there."
Yeah,
and,
it's that classic dark cursed object like trope where it's like, was it even real?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's gone now. You can't have. And he's just like, no, I'm fucking with you. They're right here.
And so he's like, well, how can you sell this to people? It's like, well, did you read the warnings? There's warnings all over the box.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what kind of wish should you make? And he's like, she's obsessed with me. And again, this is just another occurrence in which he throws the blame off on everything else except for himself. And it makes him, he's consistently looks like the villain, like he is the villain every single time. And so he takes a few of them. He tries to use it again, but you can't. You only get one wish. You can't even break it. He goes to Ian's house. He tries to explain it to Ian. Ian, because they're constantly kind of lying to each other. They don't know what to believe. Ian doesn't know, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, is Nikki okay? You got blood all over you.
It's like Boy Who Cried Wolf in a sense.
Yeah.
And I like the moment where Bear is like, oh fuck. She's texting her from Sarah's phone, right?
Yeah.
She's texting him, okay, don't come over to my house. I'm going to go, like, fix this. And he's like, no, tell me what the fuck is going on right now.
Yeah.
Because it almost is like the movie halts and is like, no, Bear's going to have to be honest for once.
Yeah.
And
even the music cuts out and is like, no, let's go back.
Yeah, and it's like, finally, he actually is honest about something he did and what he did. Even in the store right before that, he kind of gives a very ambiguous answer. He's like, she's obsessed with me.
Yeah.
And it's still that's ambiguous as to who's to blame.
Yeah.
Right. And in this case, he tells Ian exactly what happened, and Ian doesn't take him seriously because he's been full. Like, it almost feels it's less it almost feels less believable to Ian because it's like, you've been making excuses for this whole time, and now you want me to believe that it is a magic piece of wood.
Yeah.
That is what did it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just tell me that if it was
originally?
Because, he didn't want to take accountability.
Yeah. And so he wishes for $1 billion, which is another of the great funny moments that happens in the movie, where it's like, and it literally rains billions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so this is like legit, like magic stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
And Bear's just furious. He's just like, he looks at him like, he's like, oh, you were never my friend.
Yeah. It also shows that the wish Willow itself is not the problem once again, and that people can have normal wishes that go fine. I do think it's funny that I saw someone say this. So when the guy in the store at the end says, I already used my wish, man, someone said in my comments, they were like, the woman in the store that's the cashier at the beginning wished to be that guy. It's the same person. Like, it's so stupid, but I love it.
Yeah. I feel like
it's like inconsequential. That's why I like it. You could just believe that. If you
want. Do, yeah. And so it is curious. Like, what did he wish for? I don't know. Maybe he wished. Maybe I don't know.
He wished that the One Wish Willows were on the counter instead of on the shelf,
but
so that he could warn people directly when they picked him up. After
Ian completely blows it, he goes back home with like I think one more wish, One Wish Willow. He sees that Nikki completely is gone completely crazy. She wears everything that Sarah's wearing. She draws tattoos on. She tries to look exactly like Sarah, and she leaves like the dead body like just out naked and busted up. And,
she took her clothes off and tried to mimic her tattoos, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like the most horrific. Like that's where I see the Texas Chainsaw stuff coming in for Curry.
Yes.
Later down the line, but it's like at this kind of crossroads where it's like it's bad everywhere. Like both the Nickies are angry at him,
and they're both self-destructive.
Yeah.
Like the one Nicki's like, I'll kill myself if you don't be with me, and the other Nicki's like, I want to kill myself to end this nightmare.
Yeah.
And so then it just it almost merges into this one goal of like, I want to end it, and all he can do to tame, so to speak, one of them is to be like, I love you.
Yeah.
It is the most heightened version, once again, of his obsession from the beginning of the movie. So every microscopic examination he does of Nikki and how she acts and what she says to be like, does she like me? At the beginning, it is taken to the max here to where when they're cuddling on the couch, Nikki's like, you shook your head. What happened? You shook your head. But he's just like shaking, probably.
Yeah, every time I watch it, if he does shake his head, it's like so small.
Exactly.
But it really just looks like he's just shaking out of fear, and she's like, well,
and she literally just misinterprets the signal. But it's that obsessive attention to someone's body language, and trying to be like, what? Like, does this mean you don't like me? Are you?
He's like,
mad
no,
at me?
let's freshen up.
Yeah. And so it really becomes scary, and she's banging on the door. She's like, fuck you. And I love the part where she, he just has to be like, I'm just a second. And then she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, it just,
and at this point,
I don't know, is the fuck you, like, I don't think, is that original Nikki doing that? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think
it's just become this, it's turned into this thing where now it's like, when you don't do what I want, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I need you to do it to survive.
Yeah. Also, Nikki shoots Ian when he like kind of busts in.
True. Yeah. He knocks on the door. He's like, "Bro, I got like $1 billion," and it's one
as
of the
if
funniest,
we didn't just like see that.
But it's one of the funniest parts because it's during this chaotic bullshit. He walks in. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Gets shot in the face immediately on some hokum shit, and
then she screams. She's gonna shoot. She's gonna do awful things to herself, and then she pukes on him. It's great. It's awesome. Like every worst thing that could happen is happening in this moment.
Yes, and then
he finally gets into the bathroom, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill myself."
Yeah. Well, and he takes out the rock she gave him at the dinner. That's supposed to be confidence and willpower.
Yeah.
because he wants the confidence and the willpower to be able to do this.
To finally
And
kill himself.
what's interesting is that it turned from like wanting to almost killing yourself due to lack of confidence to having the confidence to kill yourself in a weird way. But it's for like an actual reason now. It's almost like a moral obligation. And the medicine cabinet, once again, it's like it's always kind of stays open a little bit. And he finally takes the pills out and swallows them, and then he tries to shoot himself first. He's too cowardly to do that.
He tries to shoot himself in the heart, then it's like in the mouth, in the head.
He's like, I can't do it.
Which is kind of interesting, because I feel like that would be the quicker, easier death. As
Probably,
opposed to
but he's too scared.
Yeah, he's just...
And it's almost like...
It's almost too final. Like, it's like when you take sleeping pills, it's like... You could just maybe fall asleep, and then maybe like there's always doubt in his mind constantly about like there's no certainty. There's no like
he doesn't want to make like choices.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, is that the One Wish Willow working, it provides consequence for his actions. It's like, no, you actually have to deal with the consequences this time, because you perceive everything as like, oh, I don't want to make a choice. I don't want to make a choice. And then the choice gets made, even though he doesn't expect it to be a choice, and that's how it sneaks up on him. And then of course he makes the decision to back out at the last minute again, and that was actually Michael Johnston's idea, the actor for Bear.
Oh, nice.
Apparently he was supposed to just take the pills and sit there, and then the wish would happen, and he would get up and go give Nikki a kiss, and then he would die. But Michael Johnston was like, no, he should be like one last act of cowardice. And I think that makes the movie.
Oh yeah, it's great,
because that I don't think I would like the ending nearly as much if it wasn't like, if it didn't communicate completely that this guy is literally like, in a weird way, he has to have his agency stripped from him to do the right thing. And that's how some men are. It's like, you would never choose to do the right thing because of the person you are.
He takes the, like, he's about to throw up, and then you hear the little jingle, and then the crack, and then it's like, whoop.
I love the camera. It zooms back out, and
then they have this really funny, like, kind of meet cute like thing where they're looking at each other, and they're like, oh, you. They kind of have this, and I think that's the cute little moment.
I think that's the only relationship between the two of them that could work out, because neither of them have any say in the matter.
But he had unfortunately taken, well, I guess in this way, he had fortunately taken the pills, and he's dying, and then she's crying over him. And we also get kind of the pan down in the close-up of the One Wish Willow being broken, assuming that she made a wish that he would love her just as much as like she loves him. But he dies, she's crying, she's about to kill herself because she can't, like, we're at that point, they're, like, through the wish itself, like, there's no need for her to even exist if he's dead. But the wish cancels everything out, and so she comes back to normal. And it's, like, from her point of view, it's, like, the most horrific thing of all time. It's, like, just imagine one day you're about to go home after, like, trivia, and then every once in a while you black out in and out of just situations in which you're like, how did I get here? What's going on? The only time, like, maybe she could see, like, what's going on,
I think,
from the back, but and has no control.
I don't think it's 100% clear whether she's seeing everything happen.
I don't think it is, because every time she comes in, it's almost like,
what the fuck's going on?
Because if she does come in, I feel like she would say something else, because it always feels like it catches her off guard. She's like, whoa, what?
Well, the only one that makes me question that perspective is when she's like, it's not me.
Yeah, because when she's asleep, she could actually, like, not take control of the body, but she could be a bit more aware, I think, because the other Nikki is not.
Or maybe it's just that, like, from her perspective, right, the Nikki, like, the original Nikki that has the agency and is aware, is, like, in some kind of limbo, She
Yeah.
doesn't see what's going on, and when she wakes up every once in a while, she is kind of in. She's in these situations, and so I think after a while she starts to piece together like
Well,
someone else is living in my from her perspective, it's like someone else is living in my body.
yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think even Nikki kind of believes that it's possession in a sense.
Yeah.
And
Because even when she wakes up at the very end and she sees everything and she starts to cry, she's like, "What did you do?" Like she doesn't even know.
no, she says, "What did you do before he dies?" That's still freaky Nikki saying, "What did you do?" Because she's mourning him, and then she almost shoots herself because
And
she's
then
so.
then
And then
she wakes up again and she says it again.
Are we certain?
100, like I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
She's
that's,
like, "What did you do?" Like it's
Yeah.
almost like she. I don't know if she's even asking herself that or if she's asking him that, because you could almost ask both. Like if she doesn't know what's happening, she doesn't know that she did that or if he did all that stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, that's the most horrific ending that you can have, is her waking up not really knowing anything that's really gone on. She just knows that, you know, her body's been like used against her will, and her friends are dead. She's bleeding. She's like messed up, and yeah, I don't see any other way you could have ended that movie with like some sort of happy ending for anybody, even for her. Even though she's freed from the wish, she still has to deal with the fact that all her friends are dead. If the police ask questions, you know, you could only assume that she has no answer, and so they're just gonna assume that she just went crazy and killed everybody. And
Yeah.
she still has like the terrible ending.
yeah. And the last shot of the movie, I think, mirrors her journey, because the throughout the movie there's a lot of like descent imagery where it's like the camera lowers. It's like we're going to hell.
Yeah,
And in the last shot, it goes down and then it like pans across the floor and it comes up to the TV for the end credits. It's upside down and she's still screaming through the credits. And so I think that's kind of Nikki's journey, is like she kind of went down through hell, came back, but her whole world's upside down. It's like it's completely different, and the pain hasn't gone away. Like the suffering continues through the credits.
Yeah.
She's still screaming just like she was on the phone.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out like why it ended on the TV. A little, I guess my thought is that, you know, she was kind of filming him as he was sleeping. Again, like I said, very Lynchian. Because
Lost Highway.
like from Lost Highway. I don't know if that's a direct correlation or if that's just a coincidence, but it's very Lynchian to me. But you see the screen and there's nothing on it anymore. It's just static, and it's almost like the essence of him is gone too. Like he's dead. He's not there anymore either. We only have it's the end of the video. It's the end of his life, kind of thing.
Sure, yeah, that. And also, it's interesting the way that he mirrors the cat at the end being on the cart, because it's almost like it almost mirrors the scene when he walks in and he's like, "No, what how did you get into these? What did you do?" Like, you know, finding a dead, you know, someone dead that you know.
Yeah.
It's like kind of what she just wakes up and sees that, and so
Yeah.
That's the ending of
That's
the movie.
the movie. We just went through the whole thing longer than the movie itself of us just talking.
I mean, yeah, pretty much reasonable, because we do got to break it all down.
Yeah.
But I knew it was going to be slightly longer. I think it's worth it for this one because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff, and I think there's also a lot of just like misconceptions about Bear and about the nature of the wish that I just disagree with.
Yeah. The movie's also like fairly ambiguous in a lot of ways. Like even Curry Barker has even said like the logic doesn't work. Like there's things that you could probably cut into and like say that doesn't work, but it doesn't really matter because the movie's really just trying to say a certain thing about like consent and
Codependency,
yeah,
autonomy.
and like a lot of things about the way that like men or boys and incels, how people kind of like they see the world from that perspective, and how wrong that is, and how that could be that's not the way that people should like see other people or see the relationships.
Yeah, and it's really true. Like, what I care about in a movie is emotionally true storytelling, where it's like, yeah, the logic doesn't have to make 100% sense, but as long as it is able to capture a feeling of like, this is how this feels in life,
Yeah.
then that's what I care about. And if it allows you to empathize with those feelings, and I think this movie does that really well in the way that it I mean, with Nikki, of course, like, you really feel her suffering. It's horrifying, but also you see how it's basically a tale we know, which is that a man will traumatize women and ruin the lives of other people before he turns around and is like, oh, maybe I just needed to, like, maybe I just needed to focus on things I can actually control and not try to, like, I don't know, control everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's real people like this in the world. They like, and a lot of them, they just need help, like emotional rescue. They need to see what their priorities really mean in their life.
Well, there's a lot of issues with the world, and like we talked about with the rape culture thing earlier, and also the fact that there's just so many pipelines you can fall into of these guys trying to tell boys how to be real men, and how an alpha male is, and all this stuff. And like, it's all very, again, it's almost, I don't think it's exactly like this, but it's almost like how Ian just has this very ulterior motive when he's giving advice to Bear. It's like, when we aren't honest with each other, we all have something to hide, or that motivates us differently, and we all gossip about each other, then it becomes messy, and people don't realize what other people are actually
people,
going through.
it's really about people hiding how they truly feel. They just need to be truthful about how they need to get over the obstacle of like being rejected and not having the things go exactly they want it to be, but kind of accepting that some things aren't going to go the way that you want it, but it could lead to other things that could be more beneficial for yourself and like actually work out.
Yeah.
But if you put too much stake into one person, then if when that one person rejects you, if they reject you, then everything's gonna fall apart, and then you have nothing left to do and live for, and then you're kind of put into this depression mode that the main character was in.
Exactly. So, and I think the box says what the world sometimes tries to put out, or what we read on the box is, we get one wish. You have it, and if this one thing doesn't work out, it's over. But we only get one life, actually, and we can have a lot of different things that we wish for, and some of them aren't going to work out, but some might.
Yeah.
And that's basically, I think, that's what this movie is. Don't obsess over one wish.
Yeah. So yeah, we like this movie. 5 out of 5 apples.
He really wants to wrap it up.
Yeah, dude. Let's go.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, there is a lot to this movie. It is like the premise was like, it's a very simple premise with a lot of ideas that can come out of it, and I think that's how you kind of utilize the way that Kurt Barker did with this movie. It's like you have something really, really good, really meaty, and you just kind of expand those ideas out, and that's kind of what these small indie horror type movies need to be, and that's why I think he's a lot of people love what this movie is. And I think, well, you've already seen this movie if you're at this point, but if you haven't, and for some reason you're still here and we went through the entire movie and you still haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Yeah, don't use this as a supplement for watching it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and check it out, and you'll find things that we didn't talk about that we missed.
Yeah.
Surely.
And I mean, we also have a few recommendations. If you have seen this movie and you're like, I want to get into more movies kind of like this. Well, I think the obvious influence from this movie is Hereditary. If you haven't seen that, obviously, that's like kind of a pinnacle of modern day horror. Like, just
one of the
that.
best.
Yeah. Another movie that came out this year, the drama has a lot of cringe humor. If you like the cringe humor in this one, you're gonna love the cringe humor in that one. Not a horror. There's some aspects where it's like, ooh, that's a bit horrific, but it's not a horror. It's more cringe humor, drama stuff.
Yes.
Great. Go in not knowing anything about it. You'll love it, I think. I hope.
Friendship from last year, another cringe movie. That's definitely more of a comedy, but
yeah.
even that movie tries to be a little horrific sometimes,
Yeah.
and I think that it's super funny for it. It also is a movie that just like doesn't take place in reality, kind of like this one. So another fun one that you could watch. We love those. David Lynch, we mentioned several times throughout.
Yeah.
Check out his entire filmography, one of the best.
Yeah,
ever.
Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive,
Twin Peaks,
and anything, honestly.
Yeah, watch any of his stuff. The least similar to this of his stuff is Straight Story.
Yeah,
but
I think
even
Lost.
that's a great
I
movie.
think Lost Highway's probably the most, in terms of like horror, like his that or Inland Empire if you want to get really crazy with it.
Yes. Also, Talk to Me from a couple of years ago was kind of another Gen Z horror about connection, and there's a possession element to it.
Another made by YouTubers as well.
I think there's a lot of stuff about like Gen Z relationships in that movie that is being explored similarly to this movie. And lastly, Don John, because it's a romance movie, but it's deconstructing the rom-com, and I think that movie shows how guys or people in general can view human relationships as reward systems because of the media we consume. And I think that there is a degree of that in Obsession where it motivates how the characters think. It's like, well, I just want this to be what I want, and why isn't it what I want? So that's a few things if you haven't seen them.
If you're looking for something in line of like, oh, I loved Indy Neveretti in this, watch movies like The First Omen, Possession, movies where, chicks with dark long hair just go crazy.
Yes, there's plenty of good ones like that. I think Possession is a great recommendation. Anyway, I also give it 5 out of 5, of course. Apples in the box. Have to. So yes, we strongly recommend Obsession. I'm obsessed with it, and that's about it. There's really we went through everything.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I've been Peyton.
And I've been Adrian.
And we will see you next time on the Apple Box.